Today we are going to go over subtracting using the standard algorithm, but with decimals. Okay, so let's draw a couple numbers here. Okay, so 23 and 56, I'm sorry, 564 thousandths minus 15 and 78 hundredths. So the first thing you want to do when you're doing standard algorithm for decimals is stack them with obviously the lower one below the lower value one, the one you're actually subtracting, below. And you always just want to make sure that you line up the decimal. So, so that's the biggest thing, is that you line up the decimal and then you keep the place values exactly where they are. Okay? And now what I like to do is I like to use a trick where I just add a 0 at the end of any number so that both numbers have the exact number of place values, right? Because adding a 0 at the end of a decimal doesn't change the value at all, but it just makes it easier. Now, I like to just drop this decimal down right here, right at the beginning, just so I don't forget. Because a lot of students will not forget, and they'll get some answer that without the decimal is in the thousands instead of, closer to 8, right? So it would be 8,000 instead of 8. So you need to make sure that you bring the decimal down. And then basically, it's just subtracting like any other standard algorithm now. You line up the decimals, bring the decimal down, and then it's just completely normal standard algorithm subtraction. So 4 minus 0 is 4. 6 minus 8, I can't do that, so I have to borrow. This turns into a 4. 16 minus 8 is 8. 4 minus 7, can't do that. This is a 2. 14 minus 7 is 7. 2 minus 5, I can't do that, so I borrow. 12 minus 5 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 1. So this is 7 and 784 thousandths. Let's just do one more. How about 26 minus 3 and 748 thousandths. So now, this gets a little tricky, right? Because we're at 26 and we're subtracting 3 and 748 thousandths. So on a whole number, the decimal always comes after the ones column. So it just comes to the right of the whole number. It's an invisible decimal. You don't have to write it, but that's where it is. And then I'm going to, line this up. 3, 7, 4, 8. Right? We're always lining up by the decimals. And as I said before, I like to just add these zeros here. Okay? And now we subtract. Now 0 minus 8. I can't do that, so I have to borrow. Oh, but there's a 0 here. And a 0 here. So what I like to think about is all of a sudden I'm not borrowing from 0 or 0. I'm borrowing from basically 600, right? I keep going over until I get a whole number, right, or a digit that's more than 0, and that's where I'm borrowing from. And then, so I'm thinking about it as 600, and then that turns into 599, and this turns into a 10. So 10 minus 8 is 2, 9 minus 4, 5, 9 minus 7, 2, bring the decimal down, 5 minus 3 is 2, and it becomes 2. Oh, I almost forgot this this 2 in the 20. And then you can add a 0 here too. 2 minus 0 is 2. So it is 22 and 252 thousandths. So hopefully that showed how to subtract with the standard algorithm. Basically, you just line up the decimals, and then it's pretty much exactly the same as regular subtraction. And just make sure you remember to bring it down.